Hello.
Welcome to the
Hello,
party.
everybody.
Welcome. This is the Jedi Archives. This is the one-stop place for all Star Wars, most Star Wars comics. We're working our way to all. But yeah, we definitely do a lot of in-depth analysis on comics. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Mike.
And I am Bryce.
Oh, that's very eloquent, very classy. You bring me and Mike up a few notches classes because we're not very classy.
We're so far down the hole, though, that I don't know if that counts for anything.
Today,
Please, no talk about holes, Bryce.
Yeah.
we're losing the classy real
I
quick.
I opened the door. I should have expected it.
Today, before we lose all control, we are doing Star Wars: High Republic Adventures #1. This is the Adventures is kind of
J-O!
is always kind of like the younger adult read of Star Wars comics. So it's fun, it's interesting, but definitely adds to the High Republic. So it's definitely a very good read, and you should read it. But this is the first issue of this one, so this phase.
And first issue of Phase 3. So it's good to
For
have High
Adventures,
Republic
yes.
Adventures back.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. And so this one's called the High Republic Adventure #1, What the Mikkian Wants. And we're going to start with this little introduction. So out here at the edge of the war, death surrounds us. It has been 1 year since the fall of Starlight. Padawan Lula Talasola and many others are missing and presumed dead. At the Almohaj Cantina, a Republican outpost on the planet of Eriadu, which we know from.
A Republican outpost, huh?
Mhm.
Not a Republic outpost,
yeah.
but a Republican. It says that.
Well, a Republic outpost.
No, it says Republican. I'm
It
reading
does
it
say
right.
Republican, but it's from the Republic. On the
Wow.
planet of Eriadu, Zine mourns and waits. So, of course, Zine and Lula had a blossoming friendship that was leading towards something more, but they were not able to connect in the previous two phases. And so Lula, at the end of phase 2, stayed on Starlight
You mean
because
Phase 1.
Yes.
phase
One.
one,
Phase 1.
right. At the end of phase 1, Lula stayed on Starlight because Crix had been imprisoned there, and she wanted to make sure he didn't escape. And of course, that was falling, and so she's presumed dead. So Zine has been mourning, and she waits because she doesn't know if she's dead or not. Similar to how uh, Buryaga was presumed dead as well, and what's his name?
Bell.
Bell did not want to.
Zidaba.
Bell did not want to accept that Burry was dead, and which he wasn't. So good news for that. So Zine mourns and waits.
Spoilers.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, if you haven't read if you haven't read the other short story books.
Sorry, everybody, but get on those books.
No, it's okay. Like, I think it was a huge announcement ahead of San
They
Diego
did
Comic
announce it.
Con.
Yeah.
They did.
I mean, they announced it, so
Yeah.
they
When
announced it and he lived.
an intriguing transmission is received from Tardakville, a warlord of the remote moon of Brakrant, Zine, Quart, and a void contemplating droid named 5AG3 must venture once more into hyperspace to repair their fractured team and perhaps the galaxy.
I'm so glad we get to come back to these characters. They're very fun. And you get to see Padawan younglings become Padawans, and then are they even Padawans yet? They're not Padawans yet. They're younglings. They haven't become Padawans yet. Yeah.
No, I think didn't Court get knighted?
I think
Or is he
so.
still a Padawan?
No,
I thought Court got knighted.
I think so because look, Quart's grown.
I don't think any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I'm really
No,
fun.
I think
We're
Court
to see
did.
them grow
I
up.
think
Yeah.
I think Court did, or Court. I thought Court and Barzilla both. They ascended in the order. They ascended in the order. I do know that. What status they were at the time. They could be Padawans at this point. But I do know when they got Starlight Beacon, before they did the holiday thing, both Court and Barzilla had ascended in the order from
I
where
do
they
not.
were
Yeah,
to what they
I
are now.
don't think they're knights. So yeah, I think they're still kind of teenager kind of level. So I don't think they're knights though. But I'm definitely happy we get back to them. Quark's the one in the cover, right? They finally removed his mask, crab mask or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, they cracked.
Yeah.
They
And
cracked his crab mask.
Farzala was the other alien with the
Mhm.
blue hair, I think he had. Kind of had some pork chops or something like that. Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
Barzilla perish at Starlight Beacon?
We don't know. He's part of the
The
missing.
missing,
It
right?
even says it in here that he's not confirmed dead, and
That
neither
one's gonna
is
suck.
Buckets of Blood.
Yeah, buckets of blood I can see probably passing. Well, it's funny, if you're an adult in High Republic, they have no problems killing you off. The kids, the younger ones, they kind of like to hold on because really, you think about it, this has a lot to do with the youth. Belle's become an adult. All the ones we follow in the beginning that were much younger are kind of becoming the heroes of this now. So it's definitely been more focused on them. So I really enjoy that. This has been High Republic's been, like I said, it's mixed bags, but has some really cool moments. So, and this is something I really enjoy is what following these characters.
And you know what? It
This
is really
issue,
cool to see the
nuts.
rites of passage for these youngsters because it's a different experience than what we've seen in the films, like from the Star Wars movies and anything that we've had from the original trilogy moving forward. The younglings have a very different experience in this. So
What's
it's
the
good to contrast.
term? Amblin, Amblin. That's what they call it. And the movie has a very Amblin style, very Stranger Things kind of kids growing up. I think the
Hmm.
term in movies is called the Amblin style. It's how they're describing Skeleton Key. That Jude Law said
I
Oh,
it.
mean, Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew. That's how Jude Law said it. And it was very Amblin style. I guess that was a studio that used to make all the Stand by Me old movies like that about the kids coming to adulthood.
yes,
So
yes.
that's what this has really been like. So I really, that's maybe why I'm enjoying it because it's different. So
Hmm. And now let's look at the covers and the variant covers. There's only one variant cover, which typically for High Republic Adventures that we don't have any. But I guess because it's the first one,
Mm-hmm.
we do have one. This is the main cover, and we do see Court very prominently displayed here, and we see
Yep.
Zine
well,
and the
Mm-hmm.
new droid, which is kind of cool.
and Zine,
Yeah, this droid's something else too.
He looks like a little troublemaker. Look at him.
Well, he's got a
Zine,
little buzz saw in front of him,
Yeah, and he's
and
got
then
this
obviously
hypnotic.
in the
This
background,
hypnotic. Who
and
is
the
this?
back,
and yeah, the
Mag,
background we've got like that Magneto style helmet,
yeah,
but it's obviously a Nile helmet.
yeah, I'm sure it is not. Maybe has to be because that's the
Spoiler
villains right now.
alert.
I
Well, if
thought
you
it
don't
was
know the
Batman.
Nile or the villains by now, but she looks much older here because she definitely was
It's a
preteen.
year. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a year past, I
yeah.
believe, where we're at. So kind of the
She's
same
a
where we
teenager still.
see. Yeah, I mean, because Lula was a knight, right? Lula was a
Yes.
young knight. So
Hmm.
Lula was a Jedi Knight. Um, wasn't her master? Wasn't that Stellan? Wasn't Stellan her
Yes,
master?
he was because he
Stellan was
sparred
her
with him.
master.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, she was really young. I want to say she was knighted by 16, age 16. Like her and
Teenager.
Keeve are like really like for their age, really prominent in the Jedi Order.
Hmm. But they were young and knighted very young.
Hmm. Yes.
So
Yeah. But
The the most promising of all Jedi. One that
yeah.
Lula was definitely up there, but she also like took personal pride in that too. I remember in phase one, she was very proud of who she was, and but then
Hmm.
Zine obviously threw like a wrench of like what she wanted to do and how she wanted to go. Like there at the end of phase one, it was like a very bittersweet thing for them to part ways
Right.
because they had very strong feelings for each other.
Right. And of course, Zine could not be a Jedi because she was too old to begin the training when they
but she's
found her.
very strong with the Force.
Very strong with
Yeah,
the Force. Yes.
it's actually noticeable in this episode or in this issue.
All right, so this is the main cover, and then this is the variant cover.
Dude, the colors.
Okay, that's incredible.
Yep.
I
Very
do like
cool.
these. This one looks a lot more dynamic to me. The other one's nice, but I do prefer this cover.
Yeah,
And
that's actually really cool. I had not seen that one until today.
Is that
when
just
you look,
seen a bunch of times?
if you look
Like,
at the
I
art style,
think
here,
so.
like it's strange, right? Strange.
oh yeah, it's definitely unique. It's
Oh yeah, this is a lot different. But yes, I do believe that's seen in just different poses because the scarf around the neck is the same, and which
She
is
has an
yeah.
eye patch on
But
one
she
of
looks like
them.
a pirate here.
Yeah, I think what it is, it's zine, but it's just different variants of zine all on the same cover.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But and then
No, that's
Court
when she's
and
with the Mikkians. That's when she's with the Mikkians. That's when she goes because
yeah, but they
in
weren't
this
all
issue,
purple.
no,
They
but
weren't all purple
I think
though.
she's with the Mikkians. I think it's other Mikkians. I don't think they're all zine.
It's the pink crew of Mickians.
Yeah,
Oh, the pink is the warrior class in Mickians.
Maybe.
right. But this is a cool, and then the droid looks crazy wild.
He looks
Oh, that's
honestly,
really cool.
he looks better
I
on the
like
other
him
one.
here.
Right there, he
So
looks like a toy.
Right?
Yeah, he looks
Yeah, he's a
pretty.
little bit even.
Yeah,
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 but see, this is the typical art cover that we're used to seeing from
yeah.
the Adventure series. So, but
But
the other one it's
it's
really
more like
cool.
realistic looking.
it's very striking. The other one, the colors and yeah, it's it reminds me of some of the covers we were getting in the Phase 2. Honestly, definitely
His
got
little
the
butt
same.
blast. He's gassy.
It's okay.
So, which is your favorite of the two covers, Jonathan?
The variants. I love the brilliant
This
colors. Yeah.
Bryce?
So our little visitor, she's getting ready to go to bed here.
We have a visitor.
This is a really cool. This is really cool. Sophia, say hi to everybody.
Hi, Sophia.
I still like the first one, even though this is a really cool cover. I don't know. I really like the art style of that one better.
I like how dynamic this is, but it doesn't look as polished as the first cover. So this is my favorite too.
It's
The
definitely
original
more
cover.
polished. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And looking at this issue, who is in here? Ooh, here's another opportunity for me to add a character, Tartakville. So we have in this issue Quart, Zine Morala, 5AG3, Tartakville, Farzala Tarabal, Loden Greatstorm, who has to be a flashback because he's dead.
Well, or
Lula
they're like, yeah,
Telesola. Oh, these are cameos. Right, right.
yeah. I mean,
Cameos.
all
I know
these
where they're
people are
from.
missing pretty much from here on
They're
out. They're all.
missing. So they only show up because they're like holograms of them. They don't
Yeah.
really show up.
Mm-hmm.
Orla Jareni, Regal Cole, Cyan Holt,
Yes, yeah.
Stellan Geos,
Stellan.
Tanny Brewill, and
Right.
Torben Buck.
That's a weird image of Stellan. Almost looks like a 3D rendering.
Like a real person, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how like when people get to add this, they kind of just pick and choose like what picture they want to put in there.
Yeah.
But typically, it has to be an image from a comic because when I've added images,
and maybe it's one of the variant covers, one of those variant covers,
God,
or maybe they did a variant figure cover, and this is what a figure of Stellan would look like if they ever released one.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's not my favorite look. Not my favorite look for him, though.
Yeah, it looks like from a video game. Yeah, it's a trip.
Right.
Yeah. All right, and we have the crawl. It says Star Wars: The High Republic, Trials of the Jedi. It is a time of great turmoil. A year has passed since the destruction of the Starlight Beacon, stationed by the nefarious Markian Ro and his Nihil marauders. The Nihil have established an occlusion zone in the Outer Rim, stranding hundreds of worlds behind their storm wall. Communications are blocked, and ships that enter are lost to the void or destroyed by the Nihil. The Republic is helpless against this sinister threat, and the brave and wise Jedi Knights remain fearful of Ro's fabled nameless creatures, which the Jedi have learned are very real and very deadly.
That's a good crawl. That is a good crawl. That's what you expect from a movie. That's a good one because it's taking that year gap. That's good.
Right. That was good. So this.
Let's get into it.
Mike has notes this time.
I have notes this time. So the High Republic Adventures, it's always a fun time. It brings us back to this, and High Republic, of course, has been very dark and depressing storyline, right?
A mixed
Lots of
bag.
characters being killed off left and right, but High Republic Adventures has proven to be a fun, lighthearted view. Oh, another visitor, Luke.
Hi, Luke. Ball.
Hi, Luke.
He's got his ball. Okay, let's go away.
So in this issue, it starts out with our familiar characters with Zine in a nightclub, because remember she also posed as a singer, right? Because she likes to sing, and so she's singing in this nightclub, and they're showing these holograms of all the missing, right? And it's a good page. It's a nice double page of her in the cantina, and she's singing, and you see all the holograms around the edges.
Yeah,
of the
there's where all your cameos are for the most part.
Yeah, Load and Grade Storm, I see them there.
Yeah, and it's like I think the next page is where they get the individual ones that lead her to becoming very upset.
Right. So they really piss her off because as she's singing, and I don't think that they prepped her for this, they start showing all these, Jedi people that are missing or dead or presumed dead, but they're posting them as dead, so it's like a farewell song. And then all of a sudden she's singing, and they show up an image of Lula. And when Zine sees that, she just she snaps.
Yeah.
So she leaves the stage.
Just bolts right off stage.
She bolts. And the musicians are like, what the? They're playing their music. They're like, where'd she go? And she's super fast. So she probably used Jedi speed. But she bolts off, and she's pissed off. And she's like, who did this? And she
blames the droid first.
Yeah, she goes to the droid. And she goes, did you 5J, 5A, G3? She goes, I swear. If you, and he's like, no, the new faces tonight, Zine, I would never, he's like, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
She's like, then who did it? And then she's all, Jacoby. And then
and then he says, yeah, I can explain because it was what was it, a Republic protocol,
right?
That if it's been more than a year, that's what happens. So that's why I believe Barzilla, Torben, and Lula had all made it because they were a year missing, presumed dead, whereas all the other images like Loden, Stellan,
are really
dead. All of them are confirmed. So that we knew that, and some of them had passed even before the Starlight Beacon. Wow.
And so we know that she still says that she's trying to get over it, because Court's saying, you know what, it's been a year. You've got to just kind of accept the facts that maybe she's gone. And she's like, I can't do it.
Right.
And you can see she and Court are very close. So I can't.
Yes.
I'll flip it like this.
Well, so, they're like the only two left of the little crew.
Of the youngsters, right?
Yeah.
So I like that it has this Arabesh and it says bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kid's comic, but it says bar.
And not everybody can read Arabic, Mike.
Well, but it still says bar.
Maybe it's a juice bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's true. It could be.
Maybe it's a candy bar.
Yeah, it's a candy bar.
But she's performing in a cantina.
She's performing in a candy bar.
A candy cantina. Okay. So Lula
cantina can have so many different meanings, though, Mike.
That's true.
I can have a cantina.
Well,
myself.
Like we said, like I said, the cover, she's looking very, very more mature. God, Luke, go away. And she looks older, so she could probably pass for what is an adult in their universe who can go into a bar.
Definitely typical teenagers do have very strong adult feelings. They're starting to, grow into them, and
they can't control them.
They can't. They really can't. They're impulsive. So when we see Zine and Court in this state, because you can see their faces, they're very despondent, right?
Yeah.
I can't show it. It goes blank. I know because it goes blank, but it's down here. But when you see their faces, they're very despondent. This is very different from phase 1. So when we saw them in phase 1, they were just happy-go-lucky. They were young, and now it's like total opposite of what we're used
care in the world.
Well, they went through a lot in phase 1 to begin with.
Yes.
When you follow the comics and then how the comics actually leaked into the junior novels.
Yeah. Well, they're always together in phase 1, and that's really, I think, what brought them to
up until the end. Yeah,
and at the end they all got split apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this in phase 3, they're dealing with a lot of emotions, and in the artwork you can see all those emotions. The artwork's really great to show their emotions on their faces.
Yeah. Well, but at this point too, this is when the transmission comes in, and this is where you kind of learn, like, Zine's not just a singer in a cantina; she's still looking for Lula.
Right.
And so this transmission comes in from this Nile, warlord, and pretty much gives the location. I have what you want, and obviously, 5A G3 kind of played it down, like, well, didn't lend, and she's like, no, give me everything. And let's just go through and find this base, and then why haven't we left? And I do think it's kind of funny. She's like, why haven't we gone there and murdered this warlord? Kind of thing. Like, I thought that was pretty humorous. You expect to hear that from like a droid or something in our Dark Droids series. You don't expect to hear that from Zine, but then we see them kind of gather some information, and like, we're gone, we're going.
Well, but
Court's
remember,
trying to be sensible about it.
But Zine's not a Jedi, so she can say those things.
Right. No, I know, but we saw her maturation kind of with Lula, where, obviously they had their thing with Crix, but there was a lot of like, we value life still, and she wanted to do right versus, being wrong. But things change that year after, like, she's missing the love of her life, and she blames the Nile. Like, they don't come out and say it, but that's exactly what it is. She blames the Nile for Lula either being dead or missing, and she's going to really stop at nothing to find out what happened to Lula. And if she has to go through a bunch of Nile to get to it, then that's what she's going to do. Like, that's what I took from that.
And then let me share this, if I can share screen.
Can you share some of the screen?
Yeah, let me. Do you see it? So this is that where she takes off, right?
Yeah.
But I want to get down. But after this scene, we get this, which is one of my favorite parts of Adventures, is we always have these little interludes, the galactic database. I love this of the Adventures because this actually gives you a lot of background, a lot of history, a lot of information, like an encyclopedia. So I love it that it's in these comics. And so, of course, in phase 3, we have it again. And this is cool because we actually, for the first time, get to see the occlusion zone, which
exactly.
I finally figured out from the last book because they described it. But now I can really see. So this is what I imagine, but I imagine more like a circle, a little oval and it was in quadrant 4, or the southeastern, in Florida. So Florida's the occlusion zone.
Florida.
But here we can see it, and we can see like who is within the occlusion zone. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we have the affected sectors. We've got Pelgrin, Talanda, LOL. No, it's LDL or LOL.
No,
it's like LOL. Yeah, LOL. Morel, Samix, Sajimis, Svireni.
Oh man, they're just hitting the keyboard at this point.
Here's Velo, right? Because Velo, we remember that. And look, Utapau is just outside the occlusion zone for now. And Brakrant. So these are outside. Here's Iriadu.
Just
so this
looking
is where
at
Lula
this
is.
map lets you know how brilliant George is at naming things. His name, Utapau, sticks out far beyond all these other names. These are just gibberish. But Utapau's sounds like a real place.
Right.
But Iriadu's good too. Iriadu sounds like a real place. And that's where we had which was the movie that we saw, Force Awakens? When he was on Iriadu? Oh no, Rogue One. Rogue One. They were on Iriadu. Remember the little girl when she's hiding? When they go there to collect her father? They were on Iriadu. That black sand.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. It was Iriadu.
That really cool planet. Just it's gonna be comfortable to live there. This plains.
That planet was the one that was.
Yeah.
But it was black sand. Remember?
Yeah.
And then they go and they tell her to go hide in the cave, and she goes down and under that rock cover, and then that's when she gets rescued. So that was Iriadu. But Valo's nice. That's a nice name. Mind Cluster.
I like that they show the occlusion zone wrap around because it's probably more like a circle, a sphere that wraps around all those top, bottom, because it's not two-dimensional. So space isn't.
Right.
So I'm glad that it kind of shows it. So it probably wraps around on top of them and below them too. So I'm glad they show the back end of it. So it's not just a wall, because the wall is not going to work in space. You got to have like a encased. Now you're reading all this stuff fast, Mike. I don't know how you're doing that.
So no, because it skipped through. It was bouncing. I can't control this. So then it says here the occlusion zone. The occlusion zone. The villainous Nile have cordoned off this area of the galaxy and taken full control of the systems within it. The storm wall. So the storm wall is this pink line. It's a blockade in space that forms an impenetrable barrier around the occlusion zone. Only Nile ships with special codes can pass in or out of the occlusion zone. And in the last book that I just read, which is the first book of Phase 3, they try to fly into the occlusion zone because one of the way they make the storm wall is they have these little beacons that were set out in space, and then between those beacons they transmit this barrier. And so one of the beacons was malfunctioning, and they said, "Hey, I think we can trick it enough for a few minutes to get a bunch of our ships to get through to go help them in the occlusion zone." So that's when not Stellan, what's the other guy's name?
Elzar.
Elzar says, okay. Elzar's like, let's take a whole I don't know what he called it, but it's a garrison. I'm gonna say a garrison. But let's take a whole garrison in there so we can help them, because he knows that Avar is still alive in there, or he presumes that she is, because he heard her voice, right? Didn't he hear her? He did through the Force. When he did that thing.
He touched that object, the holy hand grenade looking object.
Yeah, the holy hand grenade, yes. And so then, but when they go and they try to go through, the first ones that start going through just get destroyed. So it didn't work because the Nile, even though it was malfunctioning, they still had full control of that storm wall. So it's like seeing.
So to go back, sorry, I know you guys were talking about the occlusion zone and all that. Iridu is actually the planet where Grand Moff Tarkin came from, and that was actually the planet where Tech died. It was not the planet where Galen Erso was hiding. That was Lamu.
Oh, okay. But we did.
I knew, no, it's a different. It's a different. I think Iriadu might be the one later in Rogue One where Galen dies, and because of the Republic, destroyed that rebel base. I think that is Iriadu, but Iriadu was not the planet where Krennic found Galen. That was Lamu.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one thing too is when you think about this area of space, what is just to the north? What is just above this area?
I think it's the inner planets, right?
No, inner planets are like in this, going in this direction. Okay, the core is going this way because this is the outer rim of the galaxy. So just above this space over here is Hut space.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Hut space is just above the occlusion zone, and because I read a little spoiler about how the Nile are going to team up with the Hutts,
which is why they position themselves in that area to begin with.
Yeah,
was to try to align with the Hutts and have a way to keep people out.
Yeah, so that's coming. So I really love this.
Are those sectors of space?
Stop sharing.
Sorry, I'm getting lost in the map. Okay, we gotta move on.
Oh, the little
I love
grids?
maps. Yeah,
I think so. I think they match to the grids on the galactic map. So
they're not planets.
It.
They're just like cloudy areas.
Right, they're regions.
They call this region, which I never knew they really did that on the Star Wars maps before. So they did like have hut space and stuff, an outer rim, but
right.
Never like actual territories.
So this is really cool. All right. So, and then she's traveling. Let me see. Oh, and then it gives a flashback after this, and we're back to Corellia a year ago, right? And that's when she's recording a message for she's recording a message for Lula because she doesn't know what happened. She was on Starlight Beacon as it was falling, and she doesn't know, did she survive? Did she live? What's happening? So she records a hollow message for her, telling her how much she loves her, and she goes, "Please don't die, and if you don't die, then I won't die either. We love each other so much." And she finally says, "I love you" in this one. She didn't say it before, right? This is the first time. I think this is the first time she says that she loves her.
It might be. I can't.
That was a year ago when we were reading those. I don't really remember.
Yeah, that's true. And then, so Zine tells her, you know what? Because I think before Zine had told her, you need to do what's going to be best for you. Go, go to where you think you need to go. It has to be. But now at this point, she sent her this message. She's like, you know what? We can figure things out. She wants to be with her, but she doesn't know if she's alive or not. Because then we get that whole thing with the Starlight Beacon. And then they go to Braccarot, and that's where Zine shows up. And
there's like a whole tribe of Mikkians.
And she's a Mikkian too. And they're like, look, it's another Mikkian. And they're like, are you going to help us overthrow the Nile? Because they're over there to overtake them. And
they also assume she's a Jedi because she comes from the Jedi. The ship that is a Jedi ship.
Right.
So they assume that she's a Jedi.
And they're happy, like, oh, we've got a Mikkian Jedi helping us. That's cool. And but she
then it just goes from go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Well, because she has Court with her, and Court's like, he is a Jedi, and he's like, well, not exactly. She's like, yeah, we're here to do. She contradicts.
Yeah, and it's just the very next thing. It's like charge, and they're all like running towards the thing, and then you see all the Utapau, warriors. Yeah, and so that was kind of cool to see that. In a comic, I'm like, oh, hey, look, we got some more here, and they just pretty much were like, if you try to, what was it? If you try to kill our benefactor, or our warlord, we are going to wipe the floor with you, and that's not what happened.
Yeah, and so John, go ahead and share this scene because I want to show this image because I loved it when you see the Utapauans. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it was very cool.
I love this. I'm like, wow, and look at the artwork and the colors. It's just like so vibrant. It's a really cool issue. So yeah, it's like, you know what? If you attack, we're gonna, get rid of you guys. But little did they realize, oops.
Spoiler alert!
Lots of things happening.
because
I
it's
might as well.
too.
No, you might as well just go because we got a little battle. Zine makes her way through that. She starts Jedi jumping over things, and then makes her
Because
way
she's really
to
powerful, and then all the Mickians
yeah.
fighting too. It's all of them together, and like you know what? It
Mm-hmm.
didn't turn out the way that they expected, and
Right.
wait a minute, this is jumping
You're going backwards.
crazy. I know because it's uncontrollable. This computer does what it wants. Let me see. So I'm getting to it. Charge. They're fighting. That looks cool. Look at his face. I love it. Those teeth.
Yeah. That's actually really cool too.
Yeah.
Better than the Inquisitor on
I-
Obi-Wan.
Yes. Was he he was a
I'm
Utapauan?
okay with the Inquisitor. Yeah, of course he was. The
Yeah.
Grand Inquisitor was a yeah.
But this one,
Yeah.
these cartoons look way better.
They look like the ones from the prequel trilogy. A lot.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
So then she gets in there and they're fighting. It's like, and then when she gets there, she's like, oh shoot, this thing is uncontrollable. What is it doing?
I do like all the
It keeps
colors the
jumping.
Mikkians. It's pretty vibrant and very
mhm.
Twi'lek-like, just a bunch of random colors.
Yes.
So they're pretty
Yeah.
Oh
cool.
yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good too. They're like, look at the blood coming out of his mouth.
Let's see. Oh, there's a little bit of blood. Very hidden. I don't
Well,
think
yeah, he's got the buzzsaw droid going crazy over there too.
It is. Oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah, you get 5AG3 just owning some people.
Shoot, it keeps
Going backwards again.
jumping. I don't know why it's doing
Going
that.
backwards.
I'm just gonna scroll it.
I don't know. Might as
It
well
keeps
stop
jumping
sharing
back up. Here it goes. And then I know I should. Oh,
spoiler.
let me stop sharing.
Yeah,
So she does get through, right? And
I like how
she gets
in
through
that
the Tartac,
instance where the
right?
and then that instance where the helmet's still on and Zine's there, but Zine senses something's not right, and then you start seeing the little breakdowns of the pictures, and you see the jawline under. They zoom in under the jawline under the helmet, so you can definitely tell who's under there is female. And then the very next slides, bam, it's Lula. And that's
Right.
pretty much how it ends. Which is telling me, it's almost like the same thing that we go back to with Zine, right? Zine blames the Nile for Lula. Lula somehow survives Starlight Beacon, and she is now on the quest to infiltrate the Nile and take down Markion Row. Like that's where I feel like this is gonna. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna go. And who knows? Maybe we'll actually get a true crossover in the comics, which we didn't get before, where Keeve shows up in this book and maybe Lula shows up in the mainline book. Now that would be really, really cool to see both of them on a comic page at the same time. Like to me,
That
that'd
would
be
be
sweet.
cool.
So I mean, maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. I don't know. I don't think there's very many issues in this series, but man, what a way to start though. Fantastic.
Well, because the transmission had told her that they could give her what she wanted, right, to Zine, and so she goes there expecting to get back her Lula. And I do want. Let me share that screen again too, because it's cool to look at. Share screen.
We're gonna struggle with it for 10 minutes. Hopefully, we can get it.
I know. Let me see. So here it is. So she gets through to the Tartac, right? She's like, okay, you know what? You can, and there's Tartac, and Tartac's like, you, right? And she's like, nothing in this galaxy will stop me. Yeah, me. Now give me my, and she throws her spear, and it goes through like the shawl. Give me my Lula, right? And she's like fierce, and she does sense something here. You see it, and she's because on the right side she says, "What?"
Right.
And then Tartak speaks, and here you are in front of me, and Lula starts to tear up. Says, "It can't be." And you go to the left and says, "You know, all this time, the one thing that kept me going every single night. And she plays the little hologram recording.
Well, yeah, she's got the little hologram recording, but then there's the helmet with the chin there in the lower right,
right?
as
But
well.
Tartek has a recording, and Tartek
Yep.
presses it, and it's Zine telling her, "Please don't die, and I won't either." She goes, "The only thing
Right.
that kept me going was this face, your face." And then on the far right, you see that it's the female chin. You're like, "Wait a minute, why is she looking
Hmm.
at the recording that Zine had sent?"
Right.
Because that's Lula.
Yeah. So I feel like the very next issue is just going to be a real deep dive, explanation of what happened. Maybe we'll find out,
Probably
you
gonna
know.
smack her and be like, "What the heck, man?"
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen too. Like, yeah, there's definitely going to be that initial
Are you
thing of
kidding me?
animosity, right? Why did it take you a year to do this? But maybe it took Lula a year to get in the position to be able to do it. We don't
Right.
know exactly her story from years, so I feel like it's going to be a Lula. Like, I think we get the flashbacks of Lula in the next issue where we find out what exactly happened to her. Maybe we find out what happened to Buckets of Blood. Maybe we find out what happened to Varsla. So
Some of the
I
other
don't know.
missing,
I'm
right?
yeah, I'm really really excited. Like, I mean, holy cow, man! What a way to start this series. Like, it's just awesome.
I agree. That was really good, and because these are characters that we learned to care about in phase one. So it's nice to come back to them and say, "Hey, where are they
Oh
now?
yeah.
What happened?"
Yep.
So
Yep.
All
very
right,
interesting.
all right. Final thoughts.
Go for
Yeah.
it, Jonathan.
Yep. Go for it, Jonathan.
Uh, I definitely enjoyed it. Obviously, cliffhangers and all that stuff. Really kind of like, whoa, didn't expect that at all.
Mm-hmm.
She's very determined, which I don't blame her. My one little thing is, I think it might have been better if it was maybe drawn out a little bit more. Like maybe this, we didn't know who this warlord Tartrak or whatever
We didn't.
was really. Maybe give us kind of this as a character, like follow along and see what they're doing a little bit, and then 3, 4 episodes, and then we reveal her. Like that would have been a little more powerful, but still, it was very entertaining and a big wow factor. But it definitely would have like really rocked me if they just were played it a little longer. But still, very, very, very good way to start this off and get the ball rolling.
So how many holocrons, Jonathan?
Uh,
2.5?
3.5. Tres.
Oh, he's got to
What?
go higher than
Tres
that.
point
3.
cinco.
3.5? Wow. You really like this one then.
Yeah, top of the list.
Wow, I can't believe it.
Wow.
You heard it here, folks. He gave
That's
us
the one thing I said. It felt
3.5.
a little rushed. I think this would have been awesome if it would have been drawn out a little bit more, but still really good. So,
So, Brycey?
Again, I'm 4.5 out of 5 on this. It was definitely a great start to the series. I don't think we're going to get as many issues this time because of the late start. So I think these issues are all going to have to be a little bit more impactful and a little bit more story and action packed to get where we're going to go because we've already got like some of the High Republic stuff out, and I know that they're going to come out with a Ty York. There's another Ty York miniseries coming out, and probably one more. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but
Is it it's only
yeah,
going
I
to be
think
4 issues? Is it only 4 for this one?
uh, I don't think it's
that'd
more
be
than that.
really small for this because this one
It
ran
is though.
for
This is really
14.
small.
Yeah.
Um, this is really small. I just
So this isn't going to end the adventure. Then they're going to end their story in some other form of media because we're not going to wrap up phase 3 in
Oh
4,
no.
3, 4 months. So it's going to have to be there. Going to be in a book or something, or I don't know, another miniseries. Are they going to be brought onto the other comic, which, like you said, is a cool crossover?
Hopefully, but I think it's only going to be 4 issues.
Wow, that's really short.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
it's 4
no,
months. Yeah, right.
it's yeah. I'm trying to figure out like
10 issues makes way more sense, but yeah, 4 is
I don't even think it's 10. I don't think it's 10. I thought I saw somewhere that it was only going to be like 7 or 8.
Oh.
That fits a little more on the timeline because then we get closer to the end.
So 4.5, Bryce, and 3.5.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It definitely opened up, and
I bet you I can guess Mike's.
What's your prediction? Use the force.
Mike's gonna say 4.5.
Oh my gosh, Jonathan! I was gonna. Yes, you probed me through the force. I give it 4.5. I really liked it. I don't want to give it a 5 because I agree with you, Jonathan. They should have. I would have liked to have got to know the character of Tarkin more, or it's not Tarkin. Who is it?
Tarak or Turak.
Tarak. Yeah, Tarak.
Yeah, something like that.
So I would have liked Tartak. So I would have liked to have that character of Tartak be developed a little bit more because that was a cool looking character with the Nile mask and everything. I'm like, ooh, who's this new Nile person, right? And that would have been more interesting for me if it had been a new villain. But there was no villain in this issue. So
she's just manipulating the Utapau to kill themselves.
Right. So, which is very un-Jedi of her.
Yeah.
But 4.5 holocrons. I thought it's a very tight knit story, really good characters. I like getting back to our friends of Lula and Zine. I like that they are developing their relationship very fully in this series, and that they show them finally, kissing and saying that they love each other. So it's really good for me. I like it.
Cool. Let me bring up the rest.
Banner. So thanks for joining us again, folks, here on VC Jedi Archives. We're your guardians of the wills. And make sure that you're following us on YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network, on Instagram at virtual.cantina network, and on X, formerly Twitter, at cantina.virtual, and on Threads.
Oh, it's just at Cantina Virtual.
Oh, at Cantina Virtual, sorry. And at Threads at virtual.cantina network, and on Hive at Virtual Cantina, and TikTok at Virtual Cantina. And like the VCN Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 Facebook page, which is our mother page, the mother, and also our two collaborating in conjunction with Star Wars Book Nerds. Shout out to Lakota Schultz and Bryce, who moderates that page, and also Bryce again, who is the owner of Star Wars Comic Book Club.
And I always forget to say, please comment. Mike loves to get in arguments with people, so please.
No, not true. I love everyone's comments. I will reply.
We will reply to them. We lets us know that you guys are actually paying attention to this and find our views interesting. I'll be probably wrong most of the time, but please comment. We really appreciate it.
And when Jonathan says we, he means me. I'll reply to your comments.
We are one.
Yes. We're the trilogy, the holy trilogy.
Anyways.
Oh, those Trinity.
Oh, no. That's
Star Wars is the holy trilogy. All right, guys. All right. Signing off. I'm Jonathan. May the force be with you.
May the force be
with you.
Always.